You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
응답하라,
Yeochin.
Go to the into the 시.
Back to the kyung to the ju. Ay.
I love your top today.
Ugh.
It's so cute.
You know, this is one of my, I feel like more dressier stage outfits. And I have not gotten dressed up. And today I decided today's the day only because I had all my lazy wears have not been washed.
Oh, yeah. There's days like that.
And I literally have to be like, I have to dress up today because I have no clothes. But I'm here, dressed, and ready to roll with you. We have a viewer.
Yeah.
That wrote to us.
Yes, a listener DM.
Yes.
And I think it was a great topic.
We're so excited when you guys write to us. So please do write to us.
So this is asking about if we would talk about breaking up, either with friends or even family who are toxic or even just not fully mature.
Ooh, okay. Let's hear it.
They elaborate. I recently had to break up with a Yeochin of 8 years after a girls' trip. Girls' trips. After all of us realized how selfish she had been and her inability to manage herself just makes everyone around her suffer, but she just gaslight everyone. It really made me think about friendships and relationships in general, and I think our relationships change with age and stages in life. What I can't figure out is how I didn't see this for 8 years. I've been friends with her, and I'm curious if other people have experienced this kind of situation.
Who is our listener?
Ooh.
What's her name?
I don't know if I should name her or keep her anonymous.
Oh, do you know her?
I do know her, yes. I don't know, but I don't know who she's talking about. And
okay,
but out of respect to her, I'm thinking we should keep it anonymous.
I love that. Well, listener, you are most definitely not alone.
You are seen and heard.
You are so felt to the core.
Which is why we jumped on this, right? I immediately sent it to you and said, we need to talk about this.
Yeah. And let me tell you, trips can make or break friendships.
Yes. Just like with when you're dating, right? You get to kind of see the true self. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so true. Our first trip, my husband and I, when we did our first trip, we went to Puerto Vallarta. We were youngins. We were only we must have been just 21.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
We almost
21 in Mexico.
So it was so funny because I remember telling him, oh my God, remember when we went the first time to Puerto Vallarta? And I was whimsically thinking about it. And he was like, yeah, where we nearly killed each other. My jaw dropped.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was going to say where we it was our very first vacation together. Uh-huh. We were little babies. And he was all we fought every day.
It was terrible.
Yeah, we fought.
So funny.
And I was so hurt that he remembered it that way.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I thought we were going to reminisce. Because I was looking at our photo album. And it's, of course, nothing but cute pictures, right?
Of course.
And here he is telling me, do you not remember how bad that was? Yeah. And obviously we survived. We did grow.
You lived to tell about it.
Yeah, we lived to tell about it. But trips.
Yeah. Let me just say, there has to be a certain level of trust to go on a girls' trip. And I think I might add, it's even harder after you're in a marriage or a committed relationship to do that.
Definitely.
For me, it was harder post-marriage, post-kids to feel comfortable going on a girls' trip. Versus,
why is it that way?
I think it's because for me at least, my inner self, the people who see that, the number of people who get to see that is so reduced once I have a family of my own. And so, I felt I would whereas I'd feel so comfortable going on a girls' trip with my two best friends, right? Because it's we used to do this in the past, and then it's just so fun. It's just like old times when we get to do it now. But to do it with, maybe friends who became newer friends or friends who came into your life after that, it's a little harder. You really have to think.
Those two girls that you go on a trip with, how long have you known them?
All my life.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like sisters. We're we're like,
but
family.
3 is an odd number. Do you
Three's an
guys
odd
ever
number.
have issues where 2 of you get
No.
along more together?
No, not really.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And I think we'd feel just as comfortable.
How did y'all meet?
Going at school. We grew up together.
Wow.
Yeah. But we're all so I'm long distance from them. They're in California and I'm here.
Oh, that's right.
And prior to that, we were in 3 different states. So I think that made us a lot more intentional with the time that we spent together.
That's nice.
But I have like newer girlfriends that I've gone on girls trips with.
I feel like you go on a lot more girls trips than I would
Post-COVID,
ever.
Post-pandemic, quarantine life, we did. And I think it made me more open to that. I think
That's
having
amazing.
been confined,
I cannot do group trips. I just know that about myself. I can't.
Yeah.
As extroverted as I am, and people think because I'm an extrovert that's what I do. I go around, hang with groups. I actually cannot handle. I love one-on-ones, but group atmospheres, I don't know what it is about being in a group. People just have to get in a row. Like the group mentality, becomes too much for me.
Like,
and and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I really are very like, and I think it's rooted in Korean church trauma. Because when I was younger, I mean, I did go to Korean churches and they were so cliquey.
Yeah.
And somehow I was always like the odd person out. Like I didn't fit in. And I feel like all my life, I just never fit in.
Did you ever go on retreats, like youth group church retreats or getaways? Because I have some trauma about that because I didn't really fit in, or I wasn't, and so as a kid, my parents would send me, but it's not something that I particularly enjoyed.
Really?
And sometimes I would find a friend, or sometimes somebody that I was close to would come, and then I would just hang out with them the whole time. But I too found it hard to just kind of blend in with the whole group of people and be confident to stand on my own. I think that for me came with age.
And of course, within the church group, there's like the popular, what is it?
The worship team leader.
Oh my God, the way in our young minds, I don't know about you, but I was like, oh my God, they're like the cool kids.
Whoever's on stage.
Church.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So I feel you on that. And I think girls' trips reveal a lot about people and how they are.
Well, I think anytime you go on a trip, you get exposed. It's like living with someone, right?
You do get exposed. Yeah.
And that's why like people say, now I never actually asked you about this. Would you advise a couple to live together before they get married together? Did we?
Yeah.
And what was your opinion?
I think
because I'm asking because you're also religion based.
Right. I mean, I don't think I would say like, yes, you absolutely have to live together, but I think it's I think if they think that's right for them, I think do it, because it's a lot hard. That's the time to do it, not being married and then you're gonna like have family and then decide, okay, this doesn't work.
I feel like
a lot hard. I think you should know everything.
Yeah. Isn't it much better to, if you have those doubts, to live together and not go down the road of marriage and divorce if you can find out if that's the reservation you have.
Yeah.
I think,
or at least to like know about it, right? Like
can we figure this out? Can we cohabitate in a peaceful way? Yeah. But as far as like what the listener asked about seeing things that you never saw before.
It's like they were friends for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then they go on this trip, and that kind of seals the deal, where all of this issues bubbled up to the surface, and she kind of had this awakening where like, oh my gosh, now I see this on this trip, and I didn't see it in the 8 years of our friendship before. And
I've kind of talked to you about this before in our private conversations. You are a very reserved person, and I'm very outgoing. But when it comes to like meeting new people, you don't get as excited as, and by that I mean like when I meet new people, I get very excited to a degree that's, I think, not usual. I think you're more normal of how it is to me. I don't know what it is. When I hear someone has an interesting story, I get enthralled. And you actually said this about me meeting you.
Yeah.
When I first met you, I was very excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, she lives in Seattle. Has relatability like me. And when we actually met in person, I was genuinely excited to meet you and hear your story. And I could have listened to you for days. I told you it's because I genuinely do love people and hearing people's stories.
Yeah.
But the problem that I'm recognizing about myself is that I jump into friendships. And I think that I almost have like these love glasses on, like Love is Blind. And I miss or tolerate things that I would find unattractive and I let them go. And I don't realize how long I've let them go until like a trip comes up and you're in the situation where you repeatedly see behaviors that you overlooked that, oh my God, that was always there. But now it's like I can't escape it because I'm on this trip and I can't go anywhere. But I have to keep thinking about this thing that's right in my face. And what with her question, what really got me is entitlement, especially when you're not mindful of someone else's time. And when you kind of see that side of someone, it's hard to unsee. It's like a unveiling, right?
Yes.
But then you have to measure that with 8 years of friendship, which seems so long. I know this too well. And I think there's, God, this question, I feel it to my soul.
So in short, yes, you relate. How have you handled situations where you've had to break off a friendship or walk away from a friendship?
I'll be honest with you. I'm currently kind of in that situation. And it's a friendship that I've had for a long time that was very valuable to me. I thought we were like just so in tune. You know that, remember how we had this discussion about how when married couples sometimes talk and they're like, nobody tells you how hard marriage is. I've never felt like that about my marriage. I feel like my marriage, yes, we've had tumultuous times, but we've always found a way to like, but I feel that way towards friendships. Nobody told me, I feel like, how hard friendships are. And I don't know if part of that is because my husband Adonis has raised the standard so high for me. Like I trust him completely. The love is super unconditional both ways. You know, we just support each other. And it happens without asking. We're so fluid in that I think everything else I can't help but feels like pales in comparison. And I don't want to make that comparison because friendships are different.
They're different from, I think there's certain freedoms that you enjoy in friendships.
Exactly.
That you can't in a marriage or like a romantic relationship. I mean, one is the fact that so there is a mutuality there. You both want to be there.
Yes.
But then when things don't work out and, you know, you're not really feeling it, or let's say in this case you're feeling like the other person is, or it's just become a toxic relationship
Right.
now, you have the freedom to walk
Yeah.
away and have no, and I think with friendship, it's you have the ability to have multiple of them, and you can
Yes.
compare
Yes.
to other friendships, and you can kind of see, okay, why is this relationship difficult, whereas like this relationship with this friend is so much easier? Like what
Yes.
is it about that friendship that is, easy, healthy, life-giving versus this other one where
It's draining.
It's
exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's like an eyesore that keeps pricking into you.
For me, like a gauge is if there are expectations, or if there's something expected of you that you're not meeting, and there's I don't know how to verbalize this.
It's like it feels like a chore.
Mm-hmm.
Like something has been placed upon you to do.
Yeah.
Rather than
there's an imbalance of what you're both putting in.
Yeah, give and take. There has to be.
I think in most relationships, there's a person who's more inclined to give. Yeah. Right. But I think that imbalance happens when there's an unmet expectation because it was not communicated, or you're thinking like you're a better friend than that other person, and then there's feelings hurt, and you guys didn't have an understanding of like what kind of friendship this is. Yeah. Do you have those situations where you think either they thought or you thought you guys were closer than you were?
I definitely, in my scenario, I feel trust was broken. And I thought we were in such a deep level of friendship that if there was any issues, we would fix it. And there would be no need to share our business with other people. And when I found out, everywhere I went, it felt like somebody was asking me about this friendship. I felt my trust shatter.
That's a huge thing. So, I feel that, if I have a friendship and it's something that I really value, I don't like talking about it with other people who
I mean, we're human, right?
Yeah, we're human.
There's definitely some aspects of it you're processing or whatever. But you know me. Yeah. I'm someone that will reach out to you and say, hey, talk to me.
And I think that's safe because I don't know that person. Yeah. Right? And so, the advice or like the things that I'm like talking about with you doesn't come from a place of bias of me knowing that other person that you're talking about. Yeah. So I think in that way, that's like a very healthy way to do it. Right. I think the problems occur when it's like you're in a group of people and there's chatter among that group about, and that's what I don't like, and
I was hearing
that's what I don't
chatter.
Want to do.
And I was feeling like everywhere I turned up, somebody would be like, "What's going on here and there?" Yeah. And I hate that. I hate, especially because I felt like I did my part to try to remedy the situation and say, "Hey, what can we work on? What went wrong? Talk to me. Let's figure it out." And I thought we did that. Yeah. And then it just continued on. And I felt like I was at a different level with this person. And sure, you could do that. But if I thought we were like so close.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that our issues should stay our issues.
Yeah.
And I don't have that expectation of everyone.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Different expectations for different friendships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I valued this friendship so much, I expected, I did have a higher expectation.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a very close relationship and you have a lot of trust in that person. So I can see how trust can be broken.
Yeah, the kind of friendship
situation.
where I thought this was a vault.
Yeah.
So, but also, it wasn't just that. I think like I've talked to you a lot about, it's our own personal growth.
Yeah.
And entering my 40s, I feel like I've grown this past year a lot. Like, especially after the pandemic, you really prioritize what time is and how you consume it and who you let in. And I have let go of a lot of frivolous things. And I've definitely leaned more into quality over quantity. I've always been attracted more to quality.
Yeah.
And so with my own personal growth, I just lost a lot of interest in certain things, like certain things that I find superficial. Like fashion, I've let it go. I mean, sure, I like it. And I used to want to be a fashion blogger back in the day.
Yeah.
And I did have a blog, but now it's like, you know what? I don't fucking care. Like I like to look good, sure, but it's not my top priority anymore. That was way different than when I was in my 20s. Now having, family and kids and that.
Yeah.
And when someone else is not, they have other things and they're fixated on fashion or being a foodie or whatever, right? It's a different outlook.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things that comes with getting older.
Yeah.
Is you get to know yourself a little bit better and know like the true self that you want to be. And so it starts bothering you less when people let you down or when trust is broken. And in some ways things become a little bit less serious. Like I know who I can trust, and my friendships, like I kind of know like how far, how deep I can go.
When was the last time your trust was broken?
It was probably a long time ago. So we've talked about this before. I think I'm very careful in who I trust. So I think I don't expect that much unless I know from a prolonged period of time that this is somebody that I can truly trust.
I wonder,
right? So I think that's my life experience and the protections that I've put up. Is
how did you get to be that way? You think, or do you think you were born that way?
Maybe I was born with a tendency like that, but I did not have. I mean, when I was growing up, I did have like volatile friendships and friendships that would annoy me, or like my mom would say, I would come home complaining about this person or that person. And I think that just came with immaturity and like lack of knowing myself. And I did that plenty with my best friends too. Right. But that's like when you're, in elementary school and middle school, you fight and make up. And then you've kind of been through all of that together. And now you guys are who you are. You have your own lives, and there's a mutual respect for who and what we've all become. And acknowledgement that we are different people with so I think it came with age and maturity. And then I think naturally I was born a very I don't want to say
you're an old
distrusting
soul
person, but it just takes a long time for me, I think, to always get to that level of
you
trust.
Were born wise.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I've had people in my life who were like my grandpa, my mom's dad. he just had the longest friendships. So at his funeral,
Wow.
his very longtime friends, very loyal friends.
Wow.
And he was a very loyal friend. This is obviously not from what I observed because I didn't know him like that, but from my mom. And
this is your
my mom's dad.
Your mom's dad. Got it.
Yeah, he had very, very long, loyal friendships.
That's beautiful.
And he kept that going. And I admired that very much.
Yeah.
And my mom and my dad also both have very long friendships. My dad, because, it came from like his grad student friends, when he was an immigrant and, that foreign student, that kind of experience.
Yeah.
And then my mom, she has a core group of friends that they've stayed friends like ever since middle school, high school.
Yeah.
And so I think it's seeing that in their lives and then wanting that for myself.
Like Reply 1988.
Yeah.
Which is at the core of our show.
Yeah.
I too, like, it's so beautiful to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then how many of those friendships do you think are the kind of friendships where they bare their soul? Or, like, how, like, you can manage friendships well when there's distance?
Yes.
And there's physical distance creates natural distance and boundaries that are in place that protect you.
Yeah. I think that has worked to my advantage for sure.
And I think that's my issue. I think I let people in too quickly and too deeply. I mean, some of these friendships I've had for such a long time, but I also think, people revere time as a tool to measure friendship.
But
like
we've been friends for so long.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
But at what point do you say, how long was that friendship healthy? How long was that friendship where this other person elevated you to be a better person? Or were they getting you to be more petty?
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. I mean, yeah, so I will say, like, the friendships that I have and value, they don't have those traits.
I know. You did really well. Like, I've asked you that before. Yeah. And I am very in awe of the fact that you have kept these friendships. But you know what it is? You are very, I always use the word poised, but like, your temperament is so even. And I think
what I choose to show.
That's true.
Right? I might be
very true.
Yeah, I might
be
home
true.
and like
the other day I saw you kind of lose it when I told a story about this person, and the whole time Jane was even so
met
bothered.
That person. It was just from hearing you describe the person, and I was like, not for me, not for me.
I described a character to Jane that I met at some event. And for me, because I am a stand-up comedian, I thought it was funny. Like, almost like I was telling Jane about this person, like, this person is so out there, so obnoxious, so over the top. It's like almost like they're not real. But as I told the things that this person did along the way, Jane, I could see her visibly, like, her eyes started like ticking and
that's okay. So the thing with that one was because the person started talking about other people that we know, and you only just met this person.
True.
So, and I'm like, you just don't do that.
Again, gossip.
You don't do that, and you don't gossip. When I find out that somebody that I just met someone, and then we have people that we mutually know. If they start saying...
Thank you. Oh my God. You know what? Do you realize how full circle this is?
Yes. Immediately something should click where there's trust there between them, and I will not like insert myself in. Why would I do that? So then when the other person starts doing that or gossiping and trying to say these things and build trust with you, I'm that's where I would draw the line and
Yeah.
say, I've seen what I needed to see. Like,
oh my God, Jane.
why are you assuming that I would be in agreement with you when I have this relationship with this person?
I just realized.
That's where my turnoff came.
I just realized, without even meaning to, this kind of came full circle.
Yeah.
Because the reason I was telling you the friendship fell apart so bad is exactly that scenario.
Situation. Yeah.
Where I recognize that my name is getting thrown out.
Yeah.
And it's getting like so-and-so knows this person, so-and-so knows that person. And then it comes back to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't have that degree of separation. And to be talked about in this way from someone who I held so close and dear.
Yeah.
And then, but a lot of times throughout this whole process, I was thinking, am I crazy? Because this is supposed to be such a near and dear friendship.
Yeah.
Am I so crazy to let this bother me? But you just showed your disdain for someone you don't even know, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's a name that we both know or something. And this wasn't even about me.
No.
But now I get to see the outside of me being you. Because that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
But this, finding out this coming from a close friend, that really... So I'm not crazy.
No, you're not crazy.
I'm valid in how I felt. Like, because that's what was happening.
Yeah. But I think that can happen with those friendships and this friendship that, our listeners talking about when there's time there, right? So then with time, like an 8-year-old friendship, you expect there to be a certain depth of trust. That's what it is. Yes. And then you start to feel like the crazy one.
Yes,
when
that's how I feel.
Some toxic behavior
her.
emerges.
Yeah, because how, and then the thing about it was, my husband was like, but you knew this person was always this way. And I was like, no.
He knew, apparently. But yeah. You maybe, so I think it's sometimes, sometimes it's easy to, from knowing that person, like being loyal, like you think you're the exception.
I thought I was the exception.
Yeah.
And I think that failure to recognize that, and like this listener is saying, like, how did I not see this?
Yeah.
And that extra layer of hurt comes from, like, I saw you in such good light.
Yeah.
I adored you. And because I adored you, I didn't ever let these other things bother me.
Yeah.
And then when it's literally like glass shattering.
Yeah.
And you can't
really
put it back
hurtful.
together.
I know.
And
I think a friendship breakup is almost more traumatic than a romantic
for me, I can 100% say that's true.
A lot of times they're longer. They're longer than, romantic relationships. And I think the level of trust, like that, once that breaks, it seems like there's no putting back together the pieces.
And then once you see something, and then like everything else,
you see it in that light,
becomes
in that lens.
Like an eyesore, and becomes like you're a foodie.
Yeah.
Would you ever send wine back at a restaurant if you're at, because it wasn't to your liking?
I don't think so.
And I wouldn't even call myself a foodie, but I remember this being such a thing that threw me off, because one of the qualities I enjoyed about this person was I believed them to be a better expert than me. I reveled in their knowledge, and I thought, whatever they want to get, whatever, I always thought this person knows so much more than I do. And then when they were like, I'm going to send this wine back. And I'm not someone who considers myself a foodie, good enough to have And I was, what? Because even a basic chump like me knows you don't send wine back just because you don't like it.
Yeah.
My understanding was that you only send wine back when it's corked or when you know something is terribly wrong.
Didn't they get to taste it before?
Right, that's the whole point.
Your chance to say, I changed my mind.
Well, that's when they did.
Oh, okay.
But that is to make sure the wine isn't corked. But it's not a tasting.
I see what you're saying.
It's not a tasting to see, oh, I like this wine. I don't like this wine.
They just didn't like it.
Right. And I will say probably I did not handle the situation well. I was so upset because not only that, we sent it back twice.
Oh.
Horrifying.
Goodness.
Horrifying in my book.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like,
deal with it.
What is happening?
Yeah.
And I was
2 times.
And I could see
this
it
person
visibly.
doesn't really know wine then. I mean, what were they trying to do? Like impress you? Like, oh, look at what
I think, and the look on that waiter's face.
Oh, I know. I want to know how often that happens. Usually, like you taste it, you're like, yeah, thank you. Continue pouring.
Right. I think first it was a little awkward. Second time was definitely the waiter looked too stunned to speak. And I could feel the room. Like I was so observant of this poor waiter. And
you were ordering a whole bottle?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just remember another glass shattering. Like here I thought this was someone that was so much above my level of knowledge in terms of food, wine, culture.
Was it that action, that behavior, or what that behavior implied about who that person is?
This definitely affected.
Mm-hmm.
And this was on a trip.
Yeah.
And this kind of like cracked the window. Like, because at the core of that behavior, what is that? It's a sense of entitlement, right?
Yeah.
That you are owed something.
Yeah.
That you deserve exactly what you wanted. The problem, though, is if you actually are reflective of your actions, right? The problem is, could it be that you did not interpret the description of the wine?
Sure.
And you don't have the knowledge to actually get what you asked for. For there to not be a reflection on that part troubled me greatly. And
were they apologetic when they sent it back?
Right, yes, but nonetheless send it back and get me something else, right? And I had never encountered that before. And I think the shock, number one,
I think that would have been shocking.
Then the second, once the shock wears down, then you're like upset. So in my upset, and I did not handle, I will admit that I did not handle how, I was so angry, but I didn't know how to articulate it. So I sent this food and wine article, which was like, if you send wine back, you're a fucking asshole.
You sent that article to where?
To the person.
Oh, okay. It was a food and wine article. Okay.
I think so. And it was literally like, if you send wine back. I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I will admit that was an asshole move on me. I was an asshole.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah. I was like, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Here's what I thought I knew.
Did you call them out there at the table? Like, you're sending that back? You sent it back to...
I said, okay, we're just drinking it now.
Okay.
I think there was a third possible time. I'm like, we're just going to fucking drink it.
Okay.
And that, again, exemplifies, how can you, if you're such a wine expert, how can you pick like 3 fucking wrong wines, right?
Right.
Like,
and you guys all task that person to choose the wine for us.
Like, you're obvious. And when the waiter's like, okay, can you articulate for me what you're missing? And I actually didn't like the wines that much, but I didn't think it was the problem.
Yeah.
Pretentious, right? It's a pretentious action.
Yeah.
No matter who does it.
So I don't know what the etiquette is. I'm interested to read that article.
The etiquette is,
what is etiquette?
I've read extensively on it. The etiquette is when you're tasting the wine and smelling it, the whole process is just to see if it's corked or not.
Okay.
It's what do you call it? It's like someone who has a job at a factory to taste or to quality check.
Got it.
That's
I thought it was like, I always thought it was hilarious because they give it to the person who ordered it and then you swirl it and you're like, yes, I like it. And I would always wonder,
what have you been doing then when they do that to you?
I'm usually not the one to order it.
Oh.
Yeah, Ben will order for us.
Okay.
And I've never seen it happen where it's sent
You've
back.
never seen it happen because it shouldn't happen unless the wine is corked.
Okay, so in my mind, I thought, do they send it back if they don't like it? So, I'm not a sommelier.
Then I did get slapped back with an article.
This is passive aggressive. This
itself
what?
Is toxic. I started it, so that's on me.
Okay.
But I did get slapped back with an article that was like, you can send your wine back. But the point of that article was, but you're an asshole. Which I feel like was not taken.
It's like those,
Like, I'm like, yes, this expert is saying that, but they're not.
On the flip side, it's like perfectly acceptable to send back a steak that's not cooked to your liking, but I will never do that. I think I did that one time in high school.
I will never
because
send
I had
even
a
food
rare
back.
steak.
Yeah,
but we went to Daniel's Broiler.
Yeah,
and this is so for somebody who has who's anxious. This is not good because they stand next to you.
Oh.
The server serves you your plate and stands next to you.
At Daniel's Broiler?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
We just want to make sure that the temperature is exactly how you ordered it.
And how did you order it? Rare?
No, I ordered medium.
Oh, okay.
And it was rare. It was like rare to mid-rare.
Bleeding.
And so I cut into, they're standing above me. They're watching me. I cut into it. And I'm thinking, it's pinker, like it's redder, but I can eat it. So I'm like, thank you.
Right.
Ben notices, like he's very quick.
Yeah.
He's like, let me see that. And I'm like, no. He's like, let me see that. He's like, that's not how you ordered it.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed.
In front of the person?
No, after they left. I was so embarrassed because...
To your husband?
I was so embarrassed to call them back because he called them back.
Oh.
Because I didn't tell... I said that it was okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I said it's okay. And he's like, no. Like, we're going to get it to your liking. So then he called back, and I'm so embarrassed because they were standing right next to me.
Did that make you mad at him?
No, it didn't make me mad at him.
Okay, because he was speaking up for you.
Yeah, it made me mad at myself because I thought, I wish in that moment I could have said,
missed your chance.
But I didn't know how to do that because that conveys confidence. When you're, when it's your practice to stand there, that establishment's practice, like we are so confident we get this right every single time.
That's true.
Please cut into your steak for us. We just want to make sure it's the temperature that you ordered. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, maybe it's perfectly
embarrass
fine.
Them.
Yeah.
But actually, Jane, I think in that particular case, they are sending someone to oversee.
Yes. So I felt bad because that was the time to do it, and I didn't do it, and I had to call them.
Good for Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, so in that particular situation, it's obvious what you asked for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like everybody can agree it's bleeding profusely. Mm-hmm. That is not a medium steak, right? Wine is subjective.
It's absolutely subjective.
But there are terminologies that winemakers and wine experts, and I claim to be no wine expert. And that's what I fall back on because I'm like, I don't know shit. Mm-hmm. I know what I like. I don't know what I don't. I didn't like the wines. But how can we experience this twice and even at other places?
Yes.
That tells me maybe you're not describing the wine you like right.
Uh-huh.
And that lack of reflection for me, and the scenario you're talking about, we're both like easy to be like, wait, it was me.
Mm-hmm.
What could I have done to get this right?
Yeah.
And the complete lack of that, I was like, how did I not see this
how did I not
before?
see this? If this is who you are. Yeah.
I don't, but then I blame myself because, I mean, I guess once one thing started to happen, it started to pile on. Once you notice one thing, another thing comes up, another thing comes up, and then the trust thing, it just exploded. And now I'm at a place where I cherish so much of the good that was in this friendship. And I haven't completely thrown off the idea because it hurts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's friendship that is deep. I mean, I saw this person like family. But, you know,
it's really hard. Sometimes I have nightmares about friendship breakups, and I don't know where they come from. It comes from, I guess, some deep-seated anxiety that trust might be broken down the line, because
I'm your nightmare. I'm living your nightmare.
Well, I think when you enter a friendship, and I don't think you like enter, like I will enter. It just kind of grows and builds. But I think you take with it the knowledge that you're not going to align fully, like on every single thing.
Right.
There's some things that you know I'm not perfect, and I know the other person is not perfect, and I'm going to accept it because I want this friendship. But there are times when I will have nightmares about what if there comes a day when I tell this person off about all the things that have annoyed me. And
because you've been so gracious.
Well, I wake up thinking, oh my gosh, like if I ever, in old age get dementia or whatever, like these are the things that will just like spill out of my mouth. Things that
like
I've been
your
keeping.
Grandpa.
Well, yes. I mean, because you're operating on trust. You're operating on, I accept these things about you, and we're different. We have different viewpoints, perspectives, but we're still friends, right? But
I am your nightmare, Jane.
You're living it.
I've exploded, and I've said the things I'm thinking. You're supposed to just, and that's what I think I'm doing wrong. Like I can't seem to let go.
I think that's debatable.
I'm too honest. I should be.
I think honesty
is my
wonderful.
grace?
I think honesty is wonderful.
But where is my grace? Why can't I say, well,
I think there's a way to be.
I blame myself.
Honest, and then mitigate the harm or the hurt, that the other person.
Actually, we were in the process of. I thought we were gonna get through it. And then I ran into another person that greeted me with, "Oh, so what's going on?" And I'm just like, what?
There's
I'm so
too much
fucking
chatter
over
about,
shit.
Yeah, there's too much chatter.
Yeah, I can only take so fucking much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just have to walk away. I've had friendships where I've just kind of disappeared and ghosted.
You don't ghost guys, you ghost friends.
Just kind of like, I will withdraw,
I think it's also like, I'm in a different phase.
Yeah.
And I think when we were clicking so well, it was before kids and before when I was like crazy into fashion, when I was
well, your priorities change, your passions
and they say
can
there's that
evolve.
saying, right? Friendships have seasons. And that really hit me because I think I'm in this era where I want to simplify.
Declutter.
I was literally thinking of the word declutter.
KonMari your friendships and be like, thank you for...
You do not bring me joy!
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me joy. You no longer bring me joy, so...
There's no spark! But no, I mean... the way I was thinking of the word declutter, but don't use that because that sounds terrible. But yeah, you hold on to things, right?
Yeah.
The nostalgia.
Yeah.
And then you have to like weigh how much is nostalgia and how much is because you really value this friendship. Where's the line? And that.
I think there's a way to do it. It's like, I think there's a way. Sometimes you could be like, it's not giving me life, so I'm out. But that might not be well taken by the other person. So maybe there's a way to communicate that to that person and say, hey, I think we're in different seasons. I want the best for you. But
I thought with time, I really thought I was being the wise one, saying let's give it time, and we will come back.
I think that's a very wise thing to do.
Yeah,
and then maybe you realize that you have to take a different approach. Like you're like, I've tried that.
Yeah.
Now it's time to do it a different way.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
It feels like I'm saying bye to my 20s. In like, my 20s were all about, doing what was best for me and fun at the moment. And now I just, like you and I talked about the other day, we just want peace.
Yeah.
We just want to be peacefully home. And I think when you have that grounding as your home life, like I just love to be home. I mean, people think that I'm out partying and like...
Right. And it doesn't have to come from home life, right? It can be like a sense of who you are, a confidence in, I don't need like a dozen friendships if I have 3 good ones.
Yeah.
Or I'm okay pulling back a little bit and kind of letting this friendship be just up to this point. Yeah. And that's enough for me because I have other relationships that bring me joy and I have trust and I have, you don't have to get everything from every single friendship. And so I think maybe just kind of realizing, no, I'm not crazy,
Yeah.
And I think it's fully okay and acceptable to move on.
But can you unsee something?
I think it's hard to unsee something. But I don't think you're choosing to unsee something by...
Now I have to move. If I want to move forward.
If you... Yeah.
It's about embracing with clarity.
Yeah. If you want to move forward, I think you don't have to, pretend that you didn't see all of that. But you're making a conscious decision. Knowing this, I still choose to go forward. And if, that,
how can
depending
you do
on
that
what
when
it
there's
is, it might
no
be
trust.
Hard. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really hard.
There's, I think, some certain fundamentals. How can you, it's like when someone cheats.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously it's different, but there's a hurt to repair. And I think when you have enough going on in your life, that you hold dear,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be really frank with yourself. Is that even worth, you know, investing all my time and energy for an outcome that I don't have faith in?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Damn. Our
I
listener,
know.
like, how did you know? You know what Adonis said?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he said, did you write this question yourself? You're my witness that I did not.
No.
Because it did not come from me.
No. But
Listeners,
it's a very common
it's
experience.
so fucking close to the heart, man.
I know.
But hey, this is real life shit.
Yeah.
You're getting the real life shit.
Yeah.
And how many people can say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I loved having this discussion.
Yeah, this is like as real as it gets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're welcome. I may have no friends left.
I wish everybody could enjoy this relationship.
Yeah,
and
I
would,
Jane.
Any day, I would go on a trip with you. It would be
really?
so fun. I would.
You know
take
what's
this
funny?
show on the road.
No. Oh.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Mm-hmm.
I have a trip coming up, and I'm a bit terrified.
Yeah.
And not.
I'm so excited what material you will bring for us.
Shut up! No, I'm gonna take the lessons I learned, and because I do blame myself. I want to put precautions and make sure that, you know, I see the person as they are and not put them on any kind of pedestal. And I think that is my fault. I do people on a pedestal.
Yeah.
When I get excited about a person, it's rose-colored glasses.
You don't
all
need to put
fucking
people
day
on
long.
a pedestal. You're such
that's my issue.
a wonderful, beautiful person, and you don't need to do that to anybody. Like we're all just people.
I know. I think it's my own, like, they're such a better person than I am.
No,
and
I
then
don't
that's where I
want
make
you to
them
think that. Yeah,
and maybe that is on me. That is on me to not see the person as they are.
I think it's fine to see the person like that. She's such a wonderful person, but I think where the danger is when you elevate that.
Yeah,
to like they're so much better than me and I am less, and that's where you allow where the danger could be, where you allow you know,
the overcompensation and believing
believing more of them and less of you. And you
Yeah.
know, I think if there's a friendship, like there also has to be an understanding that you are equal. You're equal in the friendship.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I see you exactly as you are.
Thank you. I
And it's
appreciate
still
that.
up on a pedestal. You're just good at life. I can't help it.
Stop it. At lying or life?
Life.
Okay.
Oh, you heard lying? Life.
No, I thought I heard like you're just good at lying. At life.
Life. What do you got to hide, Jane? I'm just kidding. Life.
A lot.
You know what? As long as I have you, I'm good.
I'm good too.
More questions, please, but maybe less intense.
Yeah, that was an intense one.
I hope
but
that helped.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.